In this video, I'm going to give you 5 tips for hiring in your creative business. If you feel like you're starting to get ready, then you probably have a lot of questions about what this person can do, how you can find someone good, and if you're going to be able to afford it long term. So if you're already thinking about hiring and looking at videos like this, I would say you're probably ready and you don't know what's about to come for you, because having a really good team can make such a positive difference in your business. But I haven't only had positive hiring experiences, so I'm going to give you some of the things that I have done well and some of the things that I definitely could have improved on. So first of all, if you are not sure what you need to hire, then I recommend what I call the notepad trick. You're basically going to set aside a piece of paper or a notepad, and every time there's something that you don't want to be doing in your business, or you feel like you're not good at it, it's taking you too long, this is not your zone of genius, you're going to write that on the notepad. And after a couple weeks, you're going to take a look at that notepad and basically have a job description. There might be one random task that doesn't fit with the rest of them, but most likely the main chunk of those tasks are going to fit into some kind of job description that makes sense. That will give you an idea of whether you need to hire someone for admin, someone for production, someone for social media content, someone for marketing, etc. Next, as you're looking at all the applications that come in, I would recommend hiring for soft skills versus hard skills. So soft skills are things like communication, organization, honestly, vibes is a really great reason to hire someone, because you want to be able to work with this person well. And something like how to create an Etsy listing or how to design something in Canva, those are things that can be taught in a lot of cases, but organization, good vibes, good communication with you is not something that can be taught. So I've always had better experiences when I hired the person versus hiring for the specific skill. Number 3 is the mistake I've made the most often, and that's just trying to be like a cool boss, not a regular boss. I always tried to give my hires like really fun tasks, and I would get stressed if I was asking them to do something that didn't feel fun. But here's the thing, not everyone sees the same tasks as fun or not fun, so this is kind of a losing battle from the beginning. And also, you are hiring people so that you can keep the tasks that you feel closest to and that really make you so excited to be in your business. So there's no point in hiring people to do all of the things that you love doing and leaving you with the crappy stuff. The best thing you can do with your hires is be honest upfront about the tasks they're going to do, and then you can work on hiring someone who likes that kind of work and who does find that fun, so that you both are having a really positive experience. Okay, number 4 and 5 are more technical things about hiring, and we have a lot of information in stationery school about this. If you are a wedding invitation designer, I highly recommend checking that out. For Q3, we're going to have like 4 or 5 different lessons all about hiring, managing your teams, and all the things that are associated with this. So number 4 is understanding what type of person you want to hire, specifically whether you need a contractor or an employee, because here in the US there's very different rules and regulations when it comes to contractors versus someone who's an employee. And it's really tempting to hire a contractor for reasons we'll discuss in number 5, but a lot of times the things that you actually want them to do are not going to be qualifying them as a contractor. So just because you've seen someone else in the industry do it does not mean that you're necessarily going to get away with it. A contractor cannot use tools that you provide. A contractor cannot be told when they need to work. They can't be required to like show up at a specific workplace, except for if they're kind of contracting on specific events or something. You can't have them maintain specific hours, and you can't really tell them like how to do any of their work. With a contractor, you need to say, I need X, Y, and Z deliverables, and then they are able to provide those to you, not on their own time. You can give them a deadline, but you can't tell them exactly when and how to work. So if you have some of that overreach or kind of dictating how they're working or when they're working, then they might not qualify as a contractor. So you'll need to hire an employee. And that brings me to number 5, which is to understand all the costs that are associated with hiring someone. There are a lot of costs that are very clear and obvious, such as you're going to have to pay them. Then you're going to have to pay payroll taxes on them. And if they live in a different state, you might have to register and pay unemployment in that state or additional taxes that you need to remit in that state. If they live in a different country, there might be some specific laws about that. I've personally never hired internationally. Then there are some soft costs. So certain things like running payroll on QuickBooks made my QuickBooks subscription go up like $25 a month. And if I hire additional people on payroll, that will require it to go up even more. It's usually per seat. Other things like access to my accounts, sometimes I have to upgrade to a higher plan in order to have my employee be able to access some of my assets. Sometimes we're able to have like one combined login, but sometimes it's really helpful for my employees to be able to access files, accounts, send emails, etc. on their own. So I'm paying for things like the email account, an upgraded Canva Pro subscription as opposed to the personal one. For our systems that we send information to and from clients, they have limits to the number of people that can access them as well. So there's a lot of these soft costs that come up, and I would highly recommend talking to an accountant. Also, depending on the type of business you have, if you file as an S Corp, an LLC, a sole proprietorship, a partnership, etc., when you hire someone, you might have to meet certain benefits requirements. So, for instance, I file as an S Corp, and you don't have to provide benefits if you only have one employee. However, if I were to get a second employee on salary, then I would have to start providing benefits, and you have to provide them equally across all employees. So I would highly recommend talking to an accountant about all the different things that you need to keep in mind when you are planning out this hire, because yes, a contractor might feel like it's a little cheaper because you're not worrying about some of those additional like benefits costs, 401k contributions, healthcare, payroll taxes, some of those types of things. The contractors have certain limits, and if you are asking them to work outside of those limits, then you can get in big trouble for classifying them as a contractor instead of an employee. So yes, there's a lot of technical, financial, legal stuff that has to happen when you hire, but I also want you to pay attention to steps 1 through 3 of just paying attention to those soft skills, creating the job description out of things that you specifically don't want to do, and not focusing on trying to be the fun boss all the time. So if you can give your employees very clear deliverables from the start, you're going to have a much better working relationship. Hiring in a business that you've been holding so tightly to by yourself and doing everything in can be really hard. It can be so hard to like let go of control, breathe, let someone else have a part of that little baby that you've created and you've been nurturing for so long. But if you follow some of these tips and do this with good intention, you can actually find some really amazing partnerships. You can save yourself time and be able to focus on the things that brought you to this business and brought you joy in this business from the beginning. Let me know what questions you have and other things you'd like me to explore about creative business ownership. If you are a stationery designer, I highly recommend joining Stationery School. We're going to have a bunch of classes specifically about hiring in this industry with some awesome experts joining us, and I think you'll love it. So check that out in the description. Let me know what you thought of this video in the comments.